You won't believe what a loaf of bread, a litre of milk, or even a house cost in Australia back in 1965. Prices that will make you laugh, gasp, and maybe even wish you were there. Bread. Mornings in Australia often began with the smell of freshly baked bread. A loaf cost just 18 cents, warm and golden from the bakery. Families gathered around the table, slicing it thick for breakfast or thin for sandwiches. Children dunked their bread in milk or spread butter sparingly. Bread wasn't just food, it was a daily ritual shared at every meal. Bakers knew their customers by name, offering advice on the best loaves for pies or toast. Nothing was wasted, and every slice carried value. The kitchen filled with warmth and the comforting aroma of yeast. Life moved slowly, meals were enjoyed, and bread was the heartbeat of home. Even the smallest household felt richer because of it. Every bite told a story of family, tradition, and simple pleasures. Butter. Nothing smelled as inviting as butter melting on fresh bread in 1965 Australia. At 57 cents per pound, creamy and golden. It was a small luxury savoured with care. Families often reserved it for Sundays or special guests, spreading it thinly to make every bit last. A pat of butter gleamed on pancakes or vegetables, turning simple meals into tiny celebrations. Children's eyes lit up at the sight of it, while mothers measured each portion carefully for baking. Butter wasn't just flavour, it was comfort, indulgence and warmth. Kitchens smelled of cream and fresh bread, reminding everyone of home. Every serving was appreciated, every purchase intentional. Life moved deliberately, and simple joys like butter were treasures to cherish, connecting families one spread at a time. Beef. Special occasions in 1965, Australia meant beef on the table. At $1.50 per kilogram, it wasn't an everyday purchase. Roasts, stews and barbecues were carefully planned, making each meal memorable. Butchers knew their customers, preparing cuts with care. The smell of roasting beef filled homes, drawing children and adults alike to the kitchen. Families gathered, sharing slices with rich gravy, feeling the effort behind each meal. Beef symbolised generosity, patience, and love. Cooking was slow, demanding care, yet the reward was a delicious, hearty dinner. Each bite carried flavour, effort, and pride. Life felt richer, even without great wealth, because meals were savoured, memories made, and families connected over the simplest of luxuries. Milk. Every morning, glass bottles of milk arrived at doorsteps in 1965 Australia. 18 cents per pint, fresh and wholesome, perfect for porridge, tea, or a simple glass before bed. Children drank it eagerly, while mothers used it for baking and cooking. Milk was more than an ingredient. It was a daily ritual, a symbol of nourishment and care. Kitchens smelled sweet and creamy, connecting family members through shared meals. Nothing went to waste. Every drop mattered. Life moved slowly, meals were intentional, and milk represented comfort, health, and home. Even small towns depended on the milkman's timely delivery, making mornings predictable and comforting. Each glass reminded families of simplicity, routine, and the quiet joys of everyday life. Eggs. Backyards and kitchens alike treasured eggs in 1965 Australia. At 3 cents each, they were more than food. They were little treasures. Families bought them sparingly or collected them from backyard hens. Fried, boiled, or baked into cakes, eggs brightened every breakfast table. Children eagerly watched as mothers prepared omelettes or sponge cakes. Each egg represented nourishment and care, a link between work, home, and family. Nothing was wasted, and every dish celebrated the small joys of life. Eggs symbolised freedom, routine, and simple abundance. Life moved at a slower pace, meals were shared, and even a single egg brought happiness and comfort to the household. Wheat flour. Nothing brought families together like wheat flour in the kitchen. At 12 cents per pound, it was the heart of bread, cakes, and pastries. Paper bags were carried home from the local store, ready to be transformed into dough by hand. Kitchens smelled of yeast, sugar, and warm pastries as grandmothers rolled pies and baked scones. Children learned early to dust counters and stir mixtures, helping create meals with care. Leftover dough became pancakes or dumplings, nothing wasted. Flour symbolised creativity, patience, and family tradition. Every baked loaf or cake carried hours of love and effort. Life moved slowly, meals were shared, and even a small amount of flour could turn into a memorable treat. Australians valued it not only for nourishment, but for the joy it brought to home and family gatherings. Potatoes. A humble sack of potatoes could feed an entire household. At 5 cents per pound, they were affordable, filling, and versatile. Families cooked them boiled, mashed, roasted, or in soups, sharing every meal with care. Potatoes were stored in cool cellars, sometimes dug straight from home gardens. Even children learned how to peel and chop, helping hands making kitchen work a shared ritual. Nothing went to waste. Leftovers were repurposed into hash or pancakes. Their earthy scent filled kitchens, symbolising simple sustenance and hard work. Every plate was a testament to practicality, flavour, and patience. Life was grounded in these staples, and the humble potato connected generations around the table. Australians respected it not just as food, but as a reliable part of home and family life. Apples. Juicy apples were the sweetest delight in Australian homes. 15 cents per pound, often picked from local gardens or orchards, they were eaten fresh, baked into pies, or made into preserves. Families looked forward to harvest season, children helping gather the best fruits while enjoying the crisp, tart sweet taste. Apples filled kitchens with their fragrant aroma, turning simple dishes into celebrations of flavour. Nothing was wasted. Bruised or surplus fruits became jams or sauces. Apples symbolised health, simplicity, and tradition. Every bite carried a connection to the land and family heritage. Life felt abundant, yet humble, with meals crafted from care and attention. Australians valued apples not only for taste, but for the memories and comfort they brought to home life. White cabbage. Crunchy white cabbage was a kitchen essential. 8 cents per pound, it appeared in soups, stews, and fresh salads. Families bought it from local markets or grew it in home gardens, appreciating its versatility and long shelf life. Children learned to help shred cabbage for coleslaw or prepare it for sauerkraut. The smell of cooking cabbage filled the house, earthy and familiar. Nothing was wasted. Every leaf had purpose. Cabbage symbolised nourishment, practicality, and tradition. Meals were humble yet satisfying, connecting families through everyday cooking. Australians depended on this simple vegetable for hearty dinners and celebrated it for its flavour and affordability. Every dish was a reminder that even the simplest ingredients could bring comfort and joy to the table. Sugar. Sweetness came in the form of sugar, 15 cents per pound, a must-have in Australian households. It turned fruit into jam, dough into cakes, and milk into tea sweet enough to satisfy children's cravings. Families measured it carefully, savouring the simple pleasure it brought. Children often watched eagerly as sugar was stirred into puddings or sprinkled over baked treats. Nothing was wasted. Leftover sugar was stored in jars for future use. Sugar symbolised celebration, sweetness, and the care put into everyday cooking. Meals felt special, even the ordinary ones, because of this small, magical ingredient. Life was slower, tastes were genuine, and sugar brought comfort, joy, and a little bit of indulgence to every table. Australians valued it, not just for flavour, but for the happiness it added to home life. Coffee. The rich aroma of coffee filled Australian homes every afternoon. 250 grams cost $2.50, a treat savoured slowly by adults. Freshly ground beans were poured into the filter, water boiled on the stove, and every cup was an event. Families gathered for afternoon tea or coffee, accompanied by cake or biscuits. Coffee wasn't just a drink, it was a moment of comfort, ritual, and conversation. Children often watched adults measure the perfect scoop, learning the care that went into each pot. No detail was too small. Even the leftovers were carefully stored. Coffee symbolised hospitality, patience and warmth. Life moved at a slower pace. Flavours were genuine, and small luxuries like a cup of coffee connected households. Every sip carried effort, appreciation, and memories of quiet afternoons shared with family and friends. Cheese. Cheese was more than a snack. It was a treasure. $2.75 per kilogram. Creamy, full-flavoured, and often served at breakfast or with fresh bread. Families stored it carefully, wrapped in wax paper, in cool cellars or refrigerators. Children learned to slice it thinly, savouring every piece. Cheese added richness to simple meals, from sandwiches to casseroles, and symbolised quality and care. Visiting guests were offered cheese with fruit and wine, and it became part of celebrations. Its aroma and texture made ordinary meals feel special. Australians valued cheese for its taste and the joy it brought to the table. Life was slower, meals intentional, and every slice of cheese represented attention, patience, and a small daily luxury. Tea. The kettle whistled, signalling a cherished moment in Australian homes. Tea, 25 cents per 100 grams, was poured into cups with care, often shared with biscuits or cake. Families took their time, sipping slowly and enjoying conversation. Tea wasn't just a beverage, it was comfort, tradition, and a way to gather loved ones. Children often imitated adults, pouring imaginary cups or stirring with great seriousness. Tea strengthened bonds and created routine, marking breaks in the day. Every pot was brewed with attention, every cup appreciated. Australians valued tea not only for its flavour, but for the warmth and connection it brought. Life was deliberate, small pleasures were treasured, and the simple act of sharing a cup created lasting memories of home and family. Cooking oil. The glint of golden cooking oil in a bottle promised delicious meals. 50 cents per litre, it was poured carefully into pans for frying, roasting or baking. Families used it sparingly, but with appreciation, transforming simple ingredients into flavourful dishes. Kitchens smelled warm and inviting as vegetables sizzled and meats roasted. Children watched the shimmer of oil and learned early how cooking required care. Nothing went to waste. Leftover oil was stored for the next meal. Cooking oil symbolised nourishment, versatility, and the skill behind every household meal. Life moved deliberately, flavours were genuine, and even a small bottle could elevate everyday dishes. Australians valued it not only as a practical ingredient, but as a tool that brought families together over shared meals, laughter, and the comforting aroma of home-cooked food. Noodles. Simple, quick, and satisfying, noodles cost only 15 cents per pound, a pantry essential in many Australian homes. Boiled, stir-fried, or baked into casseroles, they provided warmth and comfort. Families gathered around bowls of steaming noodles, adding vegetables or sauces to make every meal special. Children loved slurping them and learning to help in the kitchen. Noodles symbolised practicality, affordability, and the ability to turn humble ingredients into delicious meals. Nothing went to waste. Leftover noodles were repurposed into soups or fritters. Life moved slowly, meals were shared, and even a simple dish of noodles brought laughter, warmth, and connection. Australians valued noodles not just for nourishment, but for the joy, convenience, and memories they created at the table. Every bite carried care, tradition, and family togetherness. Rice. A simple bag of rice could stretch a meal for the entire family. At 10 cents per pound, it was affordable, filling, and versatile. Families boiled it for dinners, used it in puddings, or even as a base for creative dishes. Children helped rinse the grains, marvelling at how small white kernels turned into a steaming, fluffy dish. Nothing went to waste. Leftover rice was saved for stir-fries or fried rice the next day. Kitchens smelled comforting and familiar as rice cooked, and every pot represented care, patience, and practicality. Australians relied on this staple to nourish families, celebrate meals, and teach children the value of everyday ingredients. Life moved deliberately, and small pleasures, like a perfectly cooked pot of rice, became cherished moments. Even something as humble as rice symbolised comfort, community, and the warmth of home. Biscuits. Sweet or savoury, biscuits were a household favourite. At 5 cents per dozen, they were inexpensive treats for afternoon tea or snacks. Families bought them from local bakeries or made them at home, rolling dough and cutting shapes with care. Children loved helping sprinkle sugar or chocolate chips, learning patience and joy in the kitchen. Biscuits were shared with neighbours or friends, creating small moments of connection and delight. Even leftover crumbs were treasured in puddings or sprinkled over desserts. Kitchens smelled sweet, filled with warmth, and every batch reflected care and tradition. Australians valued biscuits not only for flavour, but for the memories and bonds they created. Life was simpler, sweeter, and biscuits made ordinary moments special. Honey. Golden, thick and fragrant, honey was a treasured ingredient. $1.20 per pound. It sweetened breakfasts, tea and baked goods. Families drizzled it over porridge, spread it on toast, or mixed it into cakes. Children loved the sticky sweetness and often helped stir it into desserts. Beeswax jars or glass pots were carefully stored, ensuring every drop lasted. Honey symbolised nature, patience and the rewards of simple effort. Kitchens smelled warm and inviting, and each taste reminded Australians of family care and tradition. Nothing was wasted, even the smallest amount added flavour and comfort. Life moved deliberately, and honey turned ordinary dishes into small celebrations. Australians valued it not only for sweetness, but for the comfort, memories and happiness it brought to home life. Tomatoes. Vibrant red tomatoes brightened every kitchen. 10 cents per pound, fresh from markets or backyard gardens, they were used in salads, sauces and stews. Families enjoyed slicing them for sandwiches or stewing them for pasta dishes. Children helped wash, cut and even taste test the ripest ones. Tomatoes symbolised freshness, health and the connection between the land and the table. Kitchens smelled sweet and tangy as meals simmered, filling homes with warmth. Nothing went to waste. Even bruised tomatoes became sauces or soups. Australians valued tomatoes not only for their flavour, but for the joy, colour and vitality they brought to every meal. Life moved deliberately. Flavours were genuine, and even simple vegetables created happiness at the table. House. A small home represented security and pride. In 1965, a modest house could cost around $12,000, a significant investment for Australian families. Families worked carefully to save, planning kitchens, bedrooms and gardens to create a comfortable, welcoming space. Children explored backyards, learning the joys of homegrown vegetables and outdoor play. Every brick, door and window symbolised effort, stability and the promise of future memories. Homes became the heart of family life, filled with warmth, laughter and shared meals. Even small touches, like a freshly painted fence or a flower bed, created pride and happiness. Australians valued homes not just as shelters, but as the foundation of family, tradition and community. Life moved slower, and the security of a house brought comfort, safety and a sense of accomplishment. Petrol. The roar of the car engine was a sign of freedom. Petrol cost 28 cents per gallon, fueling cars that carried families to work, school and weekend adventures. Filling stations were local hubs where neighbours chatted while tanks were filled. Children enjoyed sitting in the back seat, dreaming of far-off places as engines purred. Petrol symbolised mobility, opportunity and independence. Every trip required planning, careful budgeting and respect for fuel's value. Australians appreciated the small luxury of driving, feeling the thrill of travel while managing household expenses. Life moved deliberately. Every drop of petrol mattered. Cars brought families together, connected towns, and created lasting memories. Even the hum of an engine carried promise and excitement, marking journeys that were as much about time together as the destinations themselves. Gas. Cooking meals and warming homes relied on gas, priced at 4 cents per cubic metre. Families turn knobs carefully, controlling flames for simmering stews or boiling kettles. Kitchens glowed warmly, filled with scents of home-cooked meals. Children learned safety and respect for gas, watching adults adjust burners and bake bread or roast meat. Gas symbolised convenience, comfort and modern living. Even the smallest household task required attention, from lighting the stove to cooking dinner. Australians valued gas not just for heat or cooking, but for the rhythm and routine it brought to daily life. Life was deliberate, chores meaningful, and every flame a reminder of care, patience, and family togetherness. Small moments like a simmering pot on the stove created lasting memories of warmth and home. Electricity. Electricity illuminated homes and powered appliances, costing 5 cents per kilowatt hour. Families gathered around electric lights in the evening, reading, talking, or enjoying radio programs. Kitchens buzzed with mixers and toasters, making daily chores faster and easier. Children marvelled at the convenience, learning that this invisible energy powered warmth, light and comfort. Electricity symbolised modernity, efficiency and a new rhythm of life. Every switch flipped carried care, and Australians appreciated how it transformed home life. Life was deliberate, tasks more manageable and evenings brighter. Small luxuries like electric lights, fans and heaters became essential to comfort. Australians valued electricity not just for utility, but for the way it connected family, brightened homes, and made everyday life more convenient, safe, and memorable. Water. Clean water flowed from taps at 3 cents per 1,000 litres, essential for drinking, cooking, and washing. Families valued every drop, using it carefully for gardens, dishes, and laundry. Children learned early that water was precious, helping fetch buckets or wash vegetables. Kitchens, bathrooms and laundry rooms were centres of activity, with water supporting daily life and hygiene. Water symbolised life, care and domestic responsibility. Even small chores carried meaning, and Australians appreciated the convenience of running taps. Life was slower, conscious, and every drop counted. The sound of water from a tap, the splash in a basin, or the irrigation of gardens reminded families of effort, patience, and connection to the home. Clean water brought health, comfort, and a sense of security to households across Australia. Coal. The crackle of coal in the fireplace was a sign of warmth and home. $3 per bag, it fueled stoves and heaters, keeping houses cosy during winter. Families shoveled it carefully, storing coal in sheds or bunkers to last through the cold months. Children watched the glowing embers, fascinated by the heat and light they produced. Coal symbolised energy, labour and family life. Even the smallest ember represented effort and comfort. Australians appreciated its value for warmth, cooking and security, making it more than just fuel. It was part of daily life. Life moved deliberately, and the fire brought families together in evenings full of conversation and relaxation. The warmth, scent and glow of coal left lasting memories of home, hearth and the simple comforts of life in Australia. And there you have it, a glimpse into everyday life in Australia back in 1965. From bread to houses, every price tells a story of simplicity, value and family. It's amazing to see how times have changed, but some memories are timeless.